Okay, so we're back here. All right, here we go. So let's get started. YouTube and all of these platforms are not the best for doing I don't know what happened with this place. Are not so because I don't know what happened, and I definitely want to give you all a breakdown of Mama. Uh, and it's really annoying to me when I'm trying to do something professional and these platforms make it extremely hard. It's like you have to route this video source through that video source, through this stream key, through that blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, at the end of the day, I'm just trying to get online so I can I can broadcast to you. So anyway, that being said, let's hop into it. Let's wait for some people to come into the chat. And once we all are here, we will get started. Let me pull up the song, Mama. Finally, so we were like, finally, I'm in. I know, me too. That's how I feel. Okay. So let me pull up Mama. Let me get this song going. And I see that there are two versions. So we're going to play one version first. Let's see. Denise, can you do me a favor and send me the link to the first version in Slack, please? Because I have too many screens open right now to know what is doing what. Okay. So we're going to do both versions. So people have asked. There's two versions that have been sent to me. And that's what we're going to do. Denise, if you can hear me out there, please send me the link to the first version that we will be breaking down today. Oh, so someone said the difference is the language and message. It's like a parallel view. Okay, cool. So we're going to start off with the Korean version. All right. So for everyone out there, that's the first we're going to start off with. All right, here we go. Also, Denise, can you find me the lyric sheet translation if they have one, like a Korean lyric and the Korean to English translation? If you could find that out there on the interweb and send that to me, I'd appreciate it. All right, everyone, we're about to get started. Okay, so you're not gonna be able to see the video, but you'll be able to hear the audio. We're gonna do a sound check just to make sure. So let me pull this up. Share audio.
It's on the grounds where won the legend.
All right, cool. Could everybody hear that? Was everyone able to hear that voice that came in?
It's on the grounds where won the legend.
All right, cool. Could everybody hear that? Was everyone able to hear that voice that came in?
It's on the grounds where won the legend.
All right, cool. Could everybody hear that? Was everyone able to hear that voice that came in?
It's on the grounds where won the legend.
Oh, it's doing a weird. All right, cool. Could everybody. All right, here we go. So let's see. We got the lyrics. I gotta pulled up. EXO Mama. All right. Here we go, everyone. Mama. Hope you're excited. I know I am. I've heard a lot about this song. And let's get it going.
When the skies and the grounds were one, the legends, through their 12 forces, nurtured the tree of life. An eye of red force created the evil which coveted the heart of tree of life, and the heart slowly grew dry. To attend and embrace the heart of tree of life, the legends hereby divide the tree in half and hide each side. Hence, time is overturned and space turns askew. The 12 forces divide into two and create two suns that look alike, into two worlds that seem alike. The legends travel apart. The legends shall now see the same sky, but shall stand on different grounds. Shall stand on the same ground, but shall see different skies. The day the grounds beget a single file before one sky, in two worlds that seem alike, the legends will greet each other. The day the red force is purified and the 12 forces reunite into one perfect root, a new world shall open up.
All right, so let's talk about that intro. The intro, and this is the first time I'm ever seeing this, so it's really interesting because it's talking about basically creating this subdivision of different, like it's saying, into a new world. There's 12 of them. So I'm wondering if that's 12 members of EXO, because it's the first time really understanding EXO. So maybe that's the really interesting part. And the voice sounds like Morgan Freeman. I don't know if anyone's ever heard Morgan Freeman, the actor, but it's almost like they either found him or they found someone who sounds like him. And then they were like, all right, let's get into it. All right, so now let's get into the song. I'm hoping the song comes right in after this. Oh, it doesn't. Let me skip forward to the song. Oh, wait. Oh, wait. It does come right in.
Careless, careless, shoot anonymous, anonymous, heartless, mannerless, no one will care about me. 잃어버린 채 외면하는 것 같아. 참을 수밖에 없어. 눈을 감지만.
Okay, let's stop right there. Rewind real fast. Okay, so it sounds like saying careless, careless, shoot anonymous, heartless, mindless, no one who care about me. Let's hear that again.
Careless, careless, shoot anonymous, anonymous, heartless, mannerless, no one will care about me. 잃어버린 채 외면하는 것 같아. 참을 수밖에 없어. 눈을 감지만.
Okay, so for breaking this down from a music production standpoint, the intro is very, I think it's called Gregorian chant, which is like an old school, like the way monks would chant, but it also has that reminiscent of something from the band We Will Queen, right? Queen used to have very animated and over accentuated vocals that would be stacked with sometimes they would do 12 15 harmony stacks, right? So obviously they're doing like careless, careless, anonymous, anonymous. There's that vocal, and then it's careless, careless, anonymous, and there's careless, careless, anonymous. All of those harmonies are happening at the same time. And then when it goes to "Nobody cares about me," they add more harmony on that last part to make it basically like this. Like if you're looking at like a sonic frequency, there's probably 3 or 4 vocals in the first part. Careless, careless, anonymous, anonymous. But when it goes to the part where it says, "We care about me," they add another layer here. And I'll play it again. And if you get super, super defined in your ear, you're going to hear it. When it goes to "Nobody care about me," when it goes to that part, you'll hear extra harmonies come off of that one. So I'm going to play it again. And if you can really tune into that, you're going to hear how it starts off with a couple harmonies, but then at the end of it, there's a few more. So it goes me. That one adds in there. Watch. If you can really hear that, they add that note in there with all the other ones. It's just to raise tension right there and to make it really, really pop. Remember, we're always trying to build climactic energy when it goes from one section to the next. That's the trick in production, is for when you go from your intro to your verse, you want to add something. When you add from your verse into your pre-chorus, this is such a massive intro. Lyrically, it's super unique, and it's definitely makes you think right off the bat. And I always talk about grabbing attention within the first 8 seconds. They obviously do that, because I've never heard anything like this from any pop group. So if you're thinking of things in the way of a creator, like a producer or a songwriter, if you are in the room with people and you're like, you know how we start the song off? In a way that no one's ever done before. Well, this is one of the ways. And then the vocalist cutting through. This is pretty interesting. The voice that comes through when he sings this lead part. So let me kind of check him out too. All right, so his vocal is nuts. Then he goes, "No." That's a high note, and he's singing it full voice. Just for everyone to know, that note he's hitting, it's extremely hard to do as a male, especially full voice. I've listened to a few EXO songs, and so far I think EXO has the best vocals of all of the groups that I have put on my channel so far. They're extremely rangy, meaning they have a really big range. Let's keep getting into the actual song, but so far it's already a unique track. All right, cool. So we're going to break down real quick the drum pattern. This is important for you all to know. This is kind of stuff that is on the underbelly of songs that most people aren't thinking of, but I'm going to break down the pattern for you. First off, this is a Michael Jackson pattern, okay? If you went back and listened to Michael Jackson's albums, you're going to hear this exact pattern in the drums, which most likely means that someone who produced it was a fan of Michael Jackson, or the team was a fan, and they found a record and said, "Hey, we really like the drum beat from this song. So let me show you what it is." Okay, so it's going. This is the melodic structure of the drums. It goes boom, cack, 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 boom, boom, cack, boom, cack. That's the melodic structure. So let's listen to it real quick. Check it right here. Yeah, so it goes boom, cack, boom, boom, cack. That's the last one. So if you can remember this phrase, that is a hook. All right. This is a hook in the drums that keep the listener interested. So you remember we talked about power of threes? The power of three is also happening in the drums. Let me show it to you. So it's going boom, cack, one, boom, cack, two, boom, cack, three, boom, cack, boom, boom, cack. And they change it on the fourth. So if everyone got that, this is the reason why I'm calling you all golden ears. This is what's going to help you to hear things and go, oh, so the power of three isn't just in the vocal that Adam's been talking about. It's also in the music. So that's what's going on. They're using a power of three in the drums. Also, that's happening in the strings. Let me hear the strings real quick. They're doing a power of three in the thing. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. They did it again. All right, so check this out. For all my golden ears out there. All right. Power of three is happening in the strings. It's going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So right there, that's a 3-note rough riff, and then it's happening 3 times in each section. Now check this out. On the fourth one, you're going to hear them add a higher string that's going to go, right? So it's going to go, vum, 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 vum. On the fourth one, vum, 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 you're going to hear that high note only on the fourth one. So check it out. Now watch for the high one. Hear that? Now they have the high ones. All right, cool. So hopefully you're seeing that. It's to add sonic information and to build tension. If you watch some other videos, the only way you can build tension is if you add music or take away sound. Okay, that's how you build tension. Music in its underbelly is the sale, and this sounds a little weird, but think sale being the trading of currency, of time, the sale of adrenaline and dopamine. Okay, so in order to build adrenaline, it's to do these higher sounds as it starts to build. Okay, so if you think about it, we went from the, nobody care about me, and then it got to that harmony. We add the harmony only on that care about me, and then it went to the drum beat, boom, cack, and then on the fourth come around, meaning after they do that repeated pattern, they added that double kick and the higher notes because that adds more sonic information, which brings more tension, and it keeps pushing. Okay, so we're listening to one more thing, and then we're going to move on to the actual verse, which is about to come in. I just want you to hear the part that goes, it's like, I forget what you would call it, but you'll hear it. I'll point it out to you. It's happening on an upbeat, which is really interesting, but it's like, watch. That thing, that thing, that eep sound. I'll play it one more time, but watch how they put it in the background of the track. Watch. You hear it? It's still there. All right, cool. So hopefully everyone's hearing those elements now. You hear the drums, you hear what's happening in the strings, and you hear that little boom. All right. And as you'll notice, when we go into the verse, the strings start to go, that swelling to create that tension. All right, I think we covered the good parts here. Now let's get into the actual song and listen for the. Listen, I see people in this. They're like, "Oh my God, I heard it! I heard it! I heard it!" Okay, cool. You're hearing it. Okay, we're turning on the golden ears. We're turning them on. All right, so you're gonna hear that swell that comes in, and then we're gonna go into the verse. All right, cool. So the melodic structure is ba-da-da-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba. So if you're looking at it just as a structure, remove it from the song for a second. It's going. That's the melodic structure that's underlining everything. So it's going to go ba 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 da 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 da. Da, 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 da. And then he'll add some da, 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 after that. But that the power of three that we're all looking for when we're breaking these songs down is in the tap, 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 tap. Right? So that's what's happening. And then even when the next line comes in, you'll see it. He starts it off like, but then da 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 da. He even does a couple little lines just to kind of make it seem rhythmic and cool, but then they come right back to the da 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 da. So let's just listen to that again. And he extends it. Watch. All right, cool. I just want to see what these lyrics are saying in English. So it says, "Your Majesty, now answer me. Why people have changed? Has there ever been a beautiful time before? They forgot how to live and lost their heart to care. They're busy living with their backs turned." Ah, that's deep. Oh, okay. Very interesting, because this is going into the level of planetary awareness of the soul within all of nature that connects through humanity. Humanity has separated itself from nature because it has been programmed to believe that we are better than other animals and the rest of the planet. And unfortunately, because of that weird programming that the media has done to people, we've turned our backs on each other. We've turned our backs on animals. We've turned our backs on the oceans, on the trees. We've turned our backs, instead we turn into products, buying things. Consumerism. The word consumerism is to constantly consume things. If we're constantly consuming things and we're not replenishing them, we're basically destroying something. And it's really interesting that they're saying this, because this is what's happening in the world. And so I'm very interested that they're touching on this in a very unique way. Okay, let's keep listening. Let's keep listening. Okay, so let's just break down the production that happened right there. So they did this verse, and then they went to if we're talking about building tension again, they go to that high note, in the pre-chorus to basically say we're coming in to this next section, and here's going to be the chorus. So listen to how he goes up to this high note. So right here, this whole chain. That melody, that's a very interesting melody, which reminds us a lot from what happened on the intro, where the intro came in with the very, once again, chanty part. And that style of singing definitely takes you out of this verse sections where it's very pop R&B, and then it brings you back to this, like, where are we again? You know, ding, ding, da, 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 ding, ding. It's very like choir and very choral. I've never heard that kind of vocal styling on any popular song ever. So that's really interesting, and it definitely just sets them apart, you know, in a whole different bracket. Once the minute you do something like that, it's like, oh, what's going on here? But notice how they go, like ding 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 da 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 ding da ding da 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 ding. That's to say, here's the pre-chorus. It's different from the verse, and then the vocal that's going to sing the high note is going to take us into the chorus. And you hear the strings. All right, and notice this. I always talk about, if you want to build tension, remove sound. Notice how all the sound drops out right before, it's right when he hits the big note, when he goes, dum, 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 care. Right when he says that high note, care, all the low notes drop out. And it goes, boom. And that's so that your heart actually goes, what's going to happen next? It's actually part of using physiology to create a reaction. So when the chorus lands, you as a listener get a shot of adrenaline, because you get that release again. Check it out. You'll hear it right when he sings that high note, all the instruments drop out in the bottom. See? Okay, I gotta look at these lyrics. All right. So, the mask of anonymity. The mask of anonymity hides. The jealousy eyes filled with murderous intent. Now they see the end. They're still hungry. Now are you satisfied? Hold on a sec. One second here. Make sure I'm getting all. You know, it's weird. On this page that I've been sent for the lyrics, it shows Mama in the versions of the versions of the Chinese and the Korean versions, but on the English translation, the word Mama isn't there. Instead, it's saying the word mama means your majesty, which is interesting. So I didn't know that. The word mama, it's saying on this translation, means your majesty. Okay, so let's read this chorus. Okay, so it says, loneliness adds as the days go by. We have to be humans because we get scars. We meet, hold hands, feel, laugh, and cry together. We resemble one another and we connect. But if you want to turn it back, why won't we look at each other in the eye anymore? Why won't we communicate? Why won't we love? We shed tears at the painful reality once again. Please say that we can change things if we want. Tell me, your majesty, your majesty. I mean, this is really deep stuff. Okay, well, if we're really breaking down this, and I don't know who's writing this and what they're connected to, but there is a truth out there that most people don't know. 99% of people in the world do not know what I'm going to tell you. There is a connection to the soul of this planet. it does speak. Okay, so when I say it does speak, meaning it does have an integral voice. Right, this planet has a soul. We have souls that are connected to this planet. The things that they're saying is in line with what the planet's been trying to speak to people about. Most humans have no clue about this because they're just walking around their day-to-day life and they're checking Instagram and they're trying to get a Gucci bag and they want to live in a house that has windows and a swimming pool and they want to get a bunch of likes and a bunch. That's how most people are living their life. And it has nothing to do with what's actually happening on our planet. It has nothing to do with why we're actually here. Let me give you, for example, I can give you an example of how you are connected to something greater. If in the chat, right, just in the chat, have you ever thought of someone and then they text or called you? If you've thought of somebody and then within 5 minutes they text or called you, let me know in the chat. Okay, so I'm looking at the comments. People are saying yes, 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 yes. Okay. Now, everyone in this chat, when we saw earlier, from all different places from around the world. But one thing that connects us is this glue that is all around, that connects all of us humans and all of us in nature. If you can understand that same glue that connects us is connected to this planet, okay? This planet has a ton of energy that is untapped, okay? It's running everything. Think of it like the source. I mean, everything that's rooted in this planet is alive because of the planet. The roots have to go into the ground, has to go into the source. Think of it like if you took your plug, you plug it into an electrical source. Okay? You plug it into an electrical source. That's what every tree is when it's plugged into the ground. That's every root. Okay? So this planet is an electrical source, an energetic source that connects us all. It is the biggest mainframe of the internet, but most people don't know it because they're hooked up to devices. Okay. We'll get in deeper because so far this track is, I understand why people wanted to hear it. It's much bigger than a pop song. They're saying some things in this track that most human beings don't know because most of them are not connected past the look in the mirror. And I'm going to help some of you get there. We're going to help tune your ears, but I'm also going to help tune your souls. I'm going to help you get there. For the ones who want to experience what I'm talking about, I live a completely different world from most because I'm connected to all those things. More importantly, I can show you how to get there. And this doesn't have anything to do with religion. This is not religious. This is, we are connected to a source of energy that most people don't even know exists. When I say most, I mean 99.9% of the people on this planet have no clue it even exists because they're being directed towards what makes money for other people rather than what makes connection with other people. And there's a difference. we are supposed to be connected. And that's how, when you think of a friend or you think of someone and they text you, it's because you're actually connected. Your cells, your energy, your glue is connected. Your souls are connected. But if you're being misled by all the devices, you're never going to experience this side of the world, which is beautiful to know that is there. Okay. It's a whole different way of existing in life, a much more beneficial one, much more, have more clarity. And you understand the power that's actually happening here on this planet. And like I said, most people have no clue it's even happening. All right. So let's get into it. All right, let's just break down. So now that we got a little deep into that, let's break into this, what they're actually doing melodically, so you can hear just the structure behind everything. Okay. All right, so this is going to sound very small, but once again, it's for all the golden ears out there. I'm going to show you just something very, very tiny that happens. And this is so simple, but it's used in so many hit songs. Once I tell you this, you're going to hear it in, masses of hit songs. And what this is when you build up into a chorus and you're singing the big note, or any note in general, there's going to be a snare hit that's just going to go pop, boom, and then the chorus will hit. It always goes snare hit. It's always a loud snare hit. It goes pop, and then the chorus comes on the very next beat. I call this the Ron Fair trick. Most people, you wouldn't know who Ron Fair is. Ron Fair is a massive producer. He did Vanessa Carlton's song 1,000 Miles. He did that. He did Fergie's Big Girls Don't Cry. I don't know if you remember that song. But anyway, that's a trick that he does. Right before the chorus, he does a snare hit, pop. And that's just to grab the ear, shake it up a little bit, and then drop into the chorus. So check it out. You'll hear it. Let's hear it. All right, I will say this. They did not follow a normal pop structure. Normally, what would happen is that when he goes to that note of that, normally someone else would hit it again. That's normally what they would do. They would go back to that note, but they didn't. And I feel like the reason why they didn't do that is because this song is in its own world. It's so unique to structure that two things happen. Either the people who are writing it didn't know the trick I just told you, the power of three in everything. They just didn't know it. Trust me, there's a lot of hit producers and songwriters who don't know that trick. Everyone on my channel is hearing these things, but I guarantee if you go back and listen to other songs, they're not all going to have these things, because not all producers and songwriters know them. The things I'm showing you are like high level secrets. Okay. It's kind of like there's CIA, FBI. There's these little organizations that the higher you get, the secrets get smaller and smaller. I just happen to be someone who's sharing them right now. So either one thing happened is the people writing it didn't know that trick, right? Which I can kind of lean in that direction because they play with some other melodies in ways that I've been like, huh. Or they were just in the booth and they said, you know what? This feels so unique to do what we're doing. So let's just roll with it. Okay. Let's keep going. But it is interesting to hear because I can tell how the producers and writers are thinking based on what they do. All right, so as you see, when they go out of the chorus, they're going into the second verse and they drop out the instruments. They're doing that on purpose to give the ear a rest. It's literally like calling it's an ear cleansing because the ear is hearing so much information. And then you need like a swig of water. And so how you do that in music is you release the music for a second to cleanse the ear to come back into second verse. Listen to that melody. This melody is nuts. So for everyone out there, that is it's a walk down, right? Na, 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 na. That walk down is hitting half notes. For anyone out there who's like a music nerd, that's what's happening. You can hear it. Listen. Right here. Listen to the note he is. Ding, 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 ding. That note. That's super cool. Okay. So if you were going to piano, you'd hit that, you would notice like that note is just a little bit different. Sometimes throwing in those weird different notes grab attention from the listener because they're like, oh, what's that? I've never heard that before. So that's a walk down if you're hearing it. Oh, listen to the intro. So that sounds like it's from the intro. 99 ago. Is that from the intro? All right, so I'm going to go back to the intro just to see if that's what he did. Same melody. All right, cool. See, we're catching on. So that same melody he just did in the second verse, second pre-chorus, is the same melody he did in the intro. Here's the intro. So that's the intro. Now let's go to the pre-chorus. Those little notes he's doing are great. No, really, those little skips in there, very, very good. It shows his control is ridiculous. But yeah, it's the same piece, right? So they're just recycling parts, which happens a lot in pop hit music. You find something that you think is really good, and then you go, should we write a new section? And then people go, well, no, you don't want to keep writing them. Let's just replace them. So it's a way of replacing melodic structures. That way the listener doesn't have to feel too overwhelmed. Listen to the harmony on the, it's early for me to sing that kind of high note, but listen to it. They have two harmonies on that note. We're going to check it out. So one person's going, and one person's going, I want you to hear in this moment, I'm going to teach your ears to split. Okay. So you're going to hear two notes. You're going to hear, so remember that note? And you're going to hear, and you're going to try to listen to both of them at the same time. Okay, check this out. Ready? Okay, let's try it again. Let's make sure you're going to hear, okay? I think think you heard it at that time. If you heard the split, let me know in the chats, okay? Because like I said, in order to help us become golden ears, those are the kind of things we have to be able to do, is hear two things at once and decipher it. Okay? So if you heard both notes, let me know in the chats. All right, let's keep going. Okay, let me listen to this chorus one more time. Let me listen to the Hold on a second. I'm trying to find something real quick. Okay, here we are. Oh, they're doing something very interesting. Hold on that mama, there's some really cool harmonies. 언젠가부터 우리 스며타가 오게 자발적으로 갇혀 영과 일로 만든 이 그런 인격을 만져 인생감도 감정도 따뜻함도 없고 원어 쓰레기만 아닌 거는 삭막한 물 Okay, so they go into this breakdown. All right. Okay, so I want you to hear what's happening in this breakdown. Okay, it's actually from, what Michael Jackson song is it from? Doom doom chicka doom da doom chicka doom doom chicka doom da doom chicka. That is from, I don't know what Michael Jackson song that's from. I know that's from one of his tracks. So basically, here's what I feel like is happening. Whoever produced this loves Michael Jackson. Grew up listening to Michael Jackson. Then when they ended up producing the songs, he ended up adding his flair to it. And it's not the same instruments as Michael Jackson, but it is the same rhythms. And that's what's really interesting about it. Yes, they don't care about us. Who said it? They don't really care. Thank you. Thank you. That's what it's from. They don't really care about us. That's what it's from. So it's interesting because they're basically recycling rhythms. For anyone out there who is a producer or a writer, that is a high-level secret, that rhythms are recycled from hit songs all the time. So anyway, if you're looking at making music and if you're a fan of Jackson music from back in the day, grab a song and just listen to the rhythm and then say, oh, that's a cool rhythm. How can I use that in one of my songs? And you'll see that people will just fall into it. Wow. Okay. Once again, I see why everyone wanted me to review this song. That was nuts. He came in almost like, you guys can't see the video, but he's got tats on his face. I don't think they're real tats. I hope they're not real tats, because it's gonna be really hard for him to find a job when he gets older, if those are, because this guy's completely tatted on this thing. It's hopefully it's drawn on. But when he came in with that, I want to know which one of the artists is that, because that is a very interesting voice too, to come in with that kind of whack. Like, not everyone can do that. Not everyone can sing like that or sound like that. So I'm gonna play it one more time. It's very interesting, and I love the way they're bringing in now this guitar, this like, gritty side. Which another thing for Michael Jackson, bringing in these gritty guitars. But let's check it out. Like, that's hard to do. Like, that's hard. That's hard on your throat. So someone saying that's Kai. Kai is awesome then, because I saw Kai on another solo song recently, and he was singing like pop R&B stuff, and he was dancing his ass off, and I was like, this guy's good. It doesn't even look like the same guy right here. So wow, Kai is super talented. And I think I read a little bit, like he had been, like they had been working with him for years. Like he was one of the ones who came up, and like they had been doing a lot of rehearsals with him for years. Like he was really kind of someone who, it wasn't like they were just like, here, you're in the group. He took time to develop, because that's hard to do. Okay, so Kai, I would love to work with you one day, because I can tell you're really, really talented. So anyway, this kind of vocal though, listen to the tone of his voice. Okay, so here's for all the golden ears. You can tell where someone is singing from, if it's their throat or their nose or their mouth, based on where the air pressure seems like it's the tightest. Certain singers are going to sound very very nasal, because they're pushing all the air here, and certain singers are going to sound very throaty. Okay, listen to where his air pressure is. It is very throaty, which is hard to do. So listen to it one more time. And then that, like, that part's super hooky too. All right, let's see what they're saying though. Let me break down what's being actually said. All right. Okay. I wish someone could help me, because I'm screaming. I'm scrolling through this. I'm trying to figure out what part is the bridge, but I don't know it, because I don't know the language. And I want to know what he's saying. Can anyone tell me exactly what he's saying in English? Is it possible for someone in the chat to tell me what Kai is saying? Can you translate it for me real quick? Yeah, it feels like his throat is going to burst. That's what I mean. It's very, very pressured in there. Like, I can't even do it. It would hurt my throat. Yes, there's probably distortion. Someone just asked, is there distortion on his voice? There's probably a thing called Decapitator. So just giving you all heads up. Decapitator is a plugin that you put on a vocal to make it sound gritty and a little bit more harsh. So most likely, that's probably what they're using, but he's also doing that sound, which is giving it the attack it has. Okay. It's about dying and how it's not a war. Interesting. Okay. because I don't know exactly what part we're in of the song, but I'm going to read some of these lyrics real quick. It says, at some point, we have voluntarily trapped ourselves in a smart prison. We base our personalities from a digital world made of ones and zeros and ones. There's no life, emotion, or warmth, but just garbage language, a desolating rolling meadow. 1,000%. Once again, whoever's writing this is connected. That thing I was telling you about before, which is the sole energy source of the planet. Loneliness as the days go by, and we have to be humans because we get scars. We meet, we hold hands, feel, laugh, and cry together. We resemble one another and we connect. But if you want to turn it back, why won't we look at each other in the eye anymore? Why won't we communicate? Why won't we love? We shed tears at the painful reality once again. Please say that we can change these things if we want. Tell me, Your Majesty, Your Majesty. I'm assuming Your Majesty is talking about source of the planet, or the idea of God, which is the great architect. Turn back, die, kill, fight, shout. This is not a war. Okay, maybe this is the part that Kai's singing. Okay, die, kill, fight, shout. This is not a war. Help us, Your Majesty. Your Majesty, turn back. Help us realize, Your Majesty. Your Majesty, rolling back. Clash, hit, take sides, fight. This is not a game. Help us, Your Majesty. Help us, Your Majesty. Okay, I think that's Kai's part. All right. Here's why this is really deep. Back in the day, people had wars. All right. The interesting thing about a war is that if you stand two people in a room who don't like each other, they will most likely not war with each other. The worst thing they can do will punch each other, kick each other. Maybe someone will knock the other person out. But that's not what a war is. A war is where you take control over land, ideals, history. So think about wars of the past. What they would do, countries would go after each other, and then they would go onto their land and they would take things. They take jewels and prisoners and history books, and they would basically try to overthrow each other to then claim the other's territory and space. That's the reason why people most likely went to war back in the day. Well, here's why that doesn't work. Because now we're in an age where everything is connected, where if you have a war with a certain country, you no longer can do trade of business with that country, which literally affects everyone. So it doesn't really make sense to have the same kinds of wars that we have now that we are doing. It doesn't make any actual sense, which makes it a bit scary in the sense that war is not what it used to be for. So what is it being used for? You got to ask yourself that question. Because if you go, well, they can't take land. People own land now, so you can't take it from them. And if you do, it's going to be like you're conquering a land just to have more land. Like, why would you need that? Because you used to trade with those people. Those people are buying your products. Every country in the world has products that they sell that another country buys. So the minute you go to war with someone, you're literally removing a large part of the income to the people of the area that you're warring with and the people that are the other side of the war. It doesn't make any more sense. You're no longer taking people as slaves. So that part doesn't make sense. So it's a very interesting place right now where people are still thinking war, yet wars don't actually benefit anyone in our society. If someone drops, let's say, a nuclear bomb, and that gets in the atmosphere, and that gets into the oceans, it affects everyone. The fact that we even have designed nuclear bombs is the insanity of the human design. That is the flaw of the human design, that it's willing to create something that not only will harm itself, it'll harm others only for power and control. Think about this. that a human will create something that will not only destroy others, but could possibly destroy itself. No other animal on this planet would even think of doing that. And yes, I think Yo is a genius. I think he's the one who worked with us on Next Level. All right, let's keep going on this. Someone said psychopaths. Yes. Unfortunately, the world has a lot of people in power who don't have empathy, which part of it is it's hard to have empathy when you're trying to control masses, because everyone has a different life. So you cannot be empathetic to every single person. I understand that. Those are hard shoes to fill. But there's a certain part of this where it's not even about empathy. It's about we need to wake up human beings to know that they hold a greater energy source to make the planet a better place to live. And instead, a lot of humans give up their power to officials, to other people that tell them what to do. Look about this. Laws, the laws that you abide by are just ideas. They're ideas that are enforced by official people. At one point of history, that law was not a law. It was someone's idea, someone's idea who had power, and a bunch of people who agreed on it, and a bunch of people who officialized it and then enforced it. So even down to the street light that is on your, local street, that's an idea that they want you to follow. The idea that when it turns red, you'll stop. But it's not real. There's no other animal on this planet that sees a red light and stops, and sees a green light and goes. These are ideas. When you are controlled by ideas too much, you don't know what is life, what is a real life, because someone else is controlling that narrative. Until us as people can understand that we are extremely powerful when we are connected as one unit, that all of us integrally want the same things. Everyone wants the same thing. I'm going to prove it. If I asked everyone, name the top 5 things that you want, that you would say this would create a happy life, right? You're going to say the same thing. You're going to say, I want to have health. You're going to say, I want to have a good family. You're going to say, I want some security. You're going to say, I want good food, right? And 5, let's say 6. 6 will be like, and for anyone who's an adult, I want to have something passionate that I can work towards. And 6 will be sex. Those will be the top 6 things that people will say, I'd be happy if I just had those 6 things. Notice how I didn't mention a mansion. Notice how I didn't mention I have to have control of a city. Notice how I didn't mention I have to have $1 million. Most people just want those 6 things. But somehow, while we're becoming adults, we're influenced to want all this other bullshit. We're influenced to want fancy this and big butts, and everyone's gonna have a 6-pack, and you gotta get 1 million followers on Instagram, and somehow people have been influenced to things that are not real. And unfortunately, the value system that people are now listening to, believing in, the value system is incorrectly balanced. And I'm going to prove it to you. If our society valued things based on what they really were worth, we'd be in a whole different society. If we valued other humans who were doing good for the planet, who were finding positive inventions for energy sources, who were helping cure diseases, who were leading people towards living better lives, if that's who we valued, those people would be on a pedestal. But instead, most people know Kim Kardashian. Most people know her kids' names. Why? Most people know her sisters' names and why? Have they created an invention that helps humanity? Have they, I don't know, made people better human beings? No. Have they done something that no one else has done before? No. But people highlight them. Why? Because people want to live vicariously through others, especially when it's a lifestyle that seems like it's full of all these things. But really, they're famous from a sex tape. Once our society starts to value things based on truly what it's worth, we can turn this world around. So when he's saying, how do we turn this around, Your Majesty, right? He's saying that question in the song. Do we have time to turn this around? We as people need to value things that are truly valuable and not value things that are actually very destructive. And you can tell it's destructive because look at the results of the people's lifestyles. They might put someone up and be like, look at all the fame and fortune and blah, blah, blah. Cool. How many times have they been married? 4 times? Oh God. How many times have they been in and out of rehabs? How many times has so-and-so been in and out of mental institutions? How many times has this person fallen? Everyone takes pictures of it. Who wants a life like that? Nobody wants a life where you have paparazzi trying to catch you in your worst moment. Nobody would want that. But they sell it to you as if it's something that you should pay attention to. So until us as humans, hopefully the people on this channel, the golden ears, the golden minds of tomorrow, can really take a moment and say, yeah, what if I just spent my time to value things that were actually value? And what if I took more time to value myself? And what if I took more time to value my family and friends? And what if I grew that value into something great? Now imagine that kind of world. Imagine a world that we actually put likes on people's pages because the person did something that was actually worth liking, not because they're in a bikini on the beach. What if people stopped liking that and started liking things that actually made the world better? Think about the world we can have. I challenge everyone out there who's watching this. Start to disconnect from the value system that doesn't bring real value and that only sabotages and destroys and destructs and judges. Stop liking those things. Stop liking things that you can tell people just want, they have insecurities and they just need validation. Stop giving them validation. That's false. Stop hyping it up. Just don't write anything. Instead, only focus on the other. I guarantee if the people here start doing that, it'll influence more people too. All right. Golden ear, golden mind, golden heart. Guarantee it. All right, let's keep it going. All right, so let's keep it going here. All right, where were we in the song?
깨져버린
That is Mama from EXO. I understand why people wanted me to check out this song. This is an amazing first release for any group. It was an interesting track. It had layers of depth that most people never talk about. The melodies were all catchy and unique. The structure was all there, all the things we talk about, the power of threes, the building tension, the adding things. Now, I will say this, I can tell the layers of tension release and how they did stuff where it was not as, I guess you would say, as fine-tuned as their songs are today, which means whoever's producing them also became better and better and better. And I think you were saying who it is, it's Yo. So he probably became better as a producer as the years went by, and then was like, okay, I need to tuck this down in the mix more. For instance, I think if he went back now, let's say if it was his first track, let's say he had all the knowledge he has now, and then this was his first track, there's certain things that he might do, like tuck down some of the instruments on the verse to leave space for the lead vocal. So that way it felt more anthemic when the choruses hit. These are things that I notice he does now in his productions. But it's interesting to see because it shows that producers also grow even after they get their hits. So if it's one thing that you'll notice as you start to really listen to music, if you really love a track and you find out as a producer and they start to get more hits and more hits, their productions actually get better and better and better and tighter and tighter and tighter. But it doesn't mean they're always going to do something as unique and as creative as this. This is very, very unique. I'm glad that they created something like this. More songs need to be in the world that spark real thought processes and not this garbage that's being put out into the world with this, over sexualizing women, Cardi B, even some of the Ariana Grande songs. She's like, thank you, next. But when she's saying that about one of her boyfriends who has a mental problem and the other one committed suicide or overdosed. And she's like, thank you, next. And I'm like, wait, what? What world are we coming to where where that's the music that we are listening to and that is being put out into the world? So I think songs that make you really think about what's happening shows the power of what artists can do in a really positive way, rather than the thing that I'm seeing so much in the public eye, which is usually telling girls just to get long fingernails, dye their hair blue, and talk about how cool they are and sell sexuality. It's one of the reasons why I like working with aespa, is because they didn't do that. They're really writing cool songs, where I see some American artists and all they're trying to do is sell sex. They're trying to manipulate the masses through sex and objectifying themselves. And then it's teaching other young girls to do the same thing, which, let's just be real, that doesn't help anyone. Like, men don't want to marry some girl when you get older who's out there trying to sell sexuality all the time. Like, no one wants to marry that person. You want to know why? Because men are wired, especially when you're talking about lifelong partners, men are wired to want to have children with someone who will most likely raise great children. That's how every man is wired. Men will sleep with a girl who has short shorts and the nails and all this stuff, but he will not marry that girl, and he definitely won't want to have kids with that girl. So it's like we're selling this idea, especially in the American society, that like everyone needs to be sexy. But at the end of the day, that's not what works for long term. So instead of teaching people like long-term advice that actually works, they're teaching people how to get quick attention and then get quick depression. So it's like, I got attention, now I'm depressed. Now I got attention, now I get depressed. And that's just trying to set up a society of mentally unstable people. If you look at the rise of depression, if you look at the rise of anxiety, if you look at the rise of suicides, it's all happening right now. It's the highest it's ever been in history. And you can tell a lot of it's coming from the music that's being made. It's from the media. So I'm really appreciative of this song, because this song is making people stop and think for a second. And I just want to say appreciative everyone who said for me to break this down. I'm glad we did, because it shows some really good insights. And I wish more artists were thinking about what's happening in the world rather than just get attention so they can drive a cool car. So selling everyone the like, I'm so hot, just so they can get a car. It's just so everyone knows, I've driven the Aston Martins. I've had the Bentleys. It's not worth it. It's not worth it at all. I'm gonna tell you why. You work really hard. You get one of these fancy cars. Guess what kind of people then come up to you when you have these kinds of things? Do you think the really sweetheart who has the heart of gold, who wants your best intentions is the person who comes up to you outside the nightclub? No. That's not who approaches you. The people who approach you when you have those kinds of cars are the people who want to use you to get into the car. That's the reason I got rid of all that stuff. Once I started seeing how it works, I'm like, oh, that's right. We are all energy. We attract the energy that we are. If I promote myself as a human with the energy of having a lot of flashy things, what kind of people am I attracting? People who want flashy things. Do the people who want flashy things have really good hearts, have really good awareness, have really good placement of their minds and their soul? Is that what they have? No. Those people tend to be very fake. Those people tend to be manipulative. Those people tend to be. So what happens is you spend all this time trying to accumulate things that'll make you feel good because that's what the media tells you. Then you get those things, and the people it attracts are very low vibrational people. So just hopefully helping everyone out there understand what's really going on. And thank you for sharing the song. All right, so now there's another version, and we're gonna hop into that. There is a Chinese version. So I'm gonna play that right now, and let's see what this is about.
And the grounds where one the legend.
Okay, so the same intro.
Legend shall now stand around the world. The day the red for the group.
All right, let me just see what's different about it. Okay, this is all the same. Okay, so it's the same track so far. Kind of same melody. And if it goes to this part here, the intro sound, yeah, same thing. And if it goes to the same vocal high part, okay. So this is structurally pretty much the same song so far. Let me go to the bridge. I want to see where Kai comes in and just check out if he does something different here. Someone said, please stop skipping and really watch it. Is it a different video? Hold on. All right, how about this? I'm gonna listen through it to everyone, but what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to decipher the track. So if it's the same track and it's just the same lyrics. Oh, someone said it's different people. Oh, okay. Let's listen to it then. Let's go then. All right, gotcha. It's different people. Let's roll.
Careless, shook anonymous, heartless, motherless, no one will care about me. 失落的感觉，谁在乎只有忍耐，我再也无法接受，闭上了双眼。
appreciate everyone telling me now that I was able to see it all and realize there's a whole different, it's like there's more members to EXO. So EXO, and tell me if I'm wrong about this. This is all new to me. So are there 12 members of EXO? So that way in the storyline, when it first talked about, there's maybe 6 from one part and 6 from another part, and they all kind of came together. Is that how this works? If I'm talking about the music video, these music videos are very, very intense. I mean, they have like these really in-depth storylines, and the amount of styling and lighting and preparation and the choreography. And I don't know if anyone remembers both these videos, but both in the same part, someone did like this kind of crazy side flip. There's one guy had a sword. You know, they really do kind of create this very interesting world. Okay, so everyone's saying yes. Okay, so they have like 12 members, and they're coming together. Wow, that's beautiful. So that the part is, it's almost like a unity project. So for anyone who's a big fan, is this normal? Like, do a lot of groups from Korean and Chinese group come together, or is this like the first time it's happened? You know, it's kind of like we have so many different countries around the world. So is this like a thing where a lot of groups come together, or is this one of the first times that it's happened? Someone said, well, it's a long story. No, only EXO. Okay. Wow. Well, it's very interesting. It's very interesting. Okay. So EXO started it. All right. So how about this? Because it seems like a lot of you know a ton about this stuff, and I don't know anything. All right. So I'm a complete novice. Novice, novice, not the Naevice. Is SM like the biggest company who creates all of these acts and kind of like creates these whole worlds? Is that how it works? Okay, I see a bunch of people writing. Okay. Nice one. Okay, so SM. Oh, someone said SM started K-pop. Okay. Wow. All right. I'm learning. Okay. I'm learning all this stuff. So I appreciate you showing me. It's the reason why I've been doing a lot of these breakdown videos, because I find them very, very fascinating. And to be honest, if I'm being completely honest, a lot of American music bores me, because I know what they're doing. They're just trying to sell sex. That's all they're trying to do. They're trying to sell sex and drugs and stuff like that. There's no, the depth of what American music used to be is lacking right now. It's unfortunate, because American music is only trying to create enough shock so that way people will talk about it online. And they hope that, when I say American music, I shouldn't say all American music. It's a very niche part of pop and hip hop that just wants to create enough shock to brainwash young children. And what I mean by brainwash, it literally is what I'm talking about. So there's a hack to the human brain. Let me explain that so you all know this. Everyone who's on our private stream can know this. So if you get a shot of adrenaline, it creates a small amount of fog in your brain. It's the reason why, have you ever seen someone get in a fight and they're like, I don't know, they said something and I said something, and then all of a sudden we're fighting. That's because there was a little bit of a fog that came in and blocked your logical thinking. Another example would be if when someone thinks that they're in love, right? most people have never sat down and defined the word love. I implore you all, before you say the word love again, define what it actually means and not what it means to you. It's different. Define what the word love means. Because a lot of people say things, but they don't know the definition of it. They think they know the definition, but they've never actually looked at the definition. So what happens is people get in love sometimes and they're willing to do anything to keep the other person, even if it's bad for them. It creates, the adrenaline creates a level of fog. The same thing happens. Ever seen people who get upset when they're in traffic and they're driving and someone cuts them off and they're like, what the, they start screaming, they ram on their gas, they try to catch up to the person, they're yelling. It creates fog, right? So if you can create an adrenaline shock, which a lot of American musicians are trying to do, at least the labels are trying to get them to do that. What happens is the people who view the material then get stuck in this fog. And the people who are getting stuck in this fog will then basically, when you go into that fog, it's easier to put a suggestion into the person. So let's say you see something, you're like really shocking. Someone's dancing in like not wearing a lot of clothes and they're saying things about popping pills and you're like kind of shocked by it. And you're like, what's going on? And in that moment, when your brain is thinking, your brain's like, what's going on? They can input suggestions. Now, sometimes what they're inputting is products. If you really look, there's like a Pepsi can or there's a product in the back. Sometimes what they're inputting is their own brand. So this shock is happening, right? Someone said, tell me what is love. I'll tell you the answer to it in a second. So what they're doing is trying to shock people and then give them suggestions to be a fan of this person or a fan of the products they're selling or all these things. A lot of the shock is being used through sexual manipulation, and a lot of it's being used through drugs. A lot of it's being used through this idea system of sabotaging and degrading other people. Like shake your ass on the floor, girl, like really degrading people. And by doing that, people are confused by it, but they watch it. So it's the reason why I'm not really a big fan of a lot of the pop music in America. I like Adele. I like Ed Sheeran. I think Taylor Swift does a good job. There's some people here I think do good jobs. But then when we start going into the popular music, like Lizzo and Cardi B and Ariana Grande, and we start going into that Miley Cyrus, start going in that world, there's a lot of just, how do we shock people? Because we need them to focus on us. And it gets kind of, All right, so let me tell, someone said, what is love? Oh, does EXO have a song called Tell Me What Is Love? That'd be cool. So let me tell everyone what love is. So that way everyone here has a definition. You can use it. I'll tell you, more importantly, why it is what it is. So, okay, so humans use words to describe things. It's because it's best to put things into short form so that people can remember it. Not always is it because it actually means this word. Here's why a lot of the world right now is not communicating clearly. Let's imagine you and I were in a room and I said, we're going to build something great together, me and you. But first, let's make sure that the person with the blue shirt in the room isn't here anymore, because the person with the blue shirt is stealing our ideas. Well, let's say we looked at the room and everyone had different shirts, but there's one person who has a blue shirt and we all can see that person. So it means we're all focused towards an objective decision. Right? You got to really understand that. An objective decision. We all point to the person with the blue shirt. Cool. Now, let's say, and we remove that person. Boom. We're clearly communicating. If I said, okay, we're going to build this great mansion together, this architect, and we're only going to use blue beams. Easy. We're both communicating on the same thing. So let's say an architect brings us the thing and he has orange beams. Me and you could both say, no, that's not blue. We said blue, because we're communicating on the same objective understanding. Here's where the word love becomes tricky. Because if me and you are in the room and we're communicating, and I say, I love this idea, and you say, I love it too, we could be thinking of completely two different things. So let's say we go to work on the idea, and the idea falls apart after a few months. And I look at you and I say, I thought you loved the idea as much as I loved the idea. And you're like, I did. And I'll say, well, then how come you didn't sacrifice for it? And you're like, well, because I was busy. I'm like, well, how come you weren't loyal to it? And you're like, because I had other ideas I liked. Well, now all of a sudden we're talking about two different things, because love is different to you than it is to me, because we're talking about a subjective version of love and not an objective version of love. All of the world right now says they love things and they have no clue what the word love is. They're like, I love that t-shirt. I love that car. I love that artist. I love this person. But they have no clue what the word love means. So let's break down love. The human version of love is the mixture of chemicals: adrenaline, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. Okay. Adrenaline, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. When you have those five things together, people say, I love you. I think I love you. You know, I think I'm in love with you. But here's what happens. Let's say someone sleeps with someone else and the person finds out and they go, how could you do that to me? You can't love me. And the other person's like, of course I still love you. I just had sex with that person. I love you. And they're like, no. It's impossible for you to love me and have sex with them, which is totally false. Of course you can love someone else and have sex with someone else. That's how every other animal on this planet has had sex with other animals that they don't love. It's a totally normal thing. But humans are like, you can't love me and have sex with anyone else. Like, what are you talking about? But here's what happens. The reason why someone goes, I fell out of love for that person, is because when they cheated on them, they lost trust for them. When they lost trust, they didn't want to hold them anymore, which means they removed oxytocin. Okay. So the action the person created removed a chemical from the person's chemical cocktail. Then the two people didn't talk as much. Talking creates dopamine. So because they weren't talking as much, they no longer had oxytocin and they didn't have dopamine. So the person says, you know, after a little bit of time, we just fell out of love. They didn't fall out of love. What they did is they started to remove chemicals that created the word love that humans abide by. Now let's go on to the deeper characteristics of what love means. Love has characteristics. It has commitment. It has sacrifice. It has loyalty. Okay, so these are the things that love has: commitment, sacrifice, and loyalty. And trust. So we have commitment, sacrifice, loyalty, and trust. When you know these things, the human version of it is a bunch of chemical cocktails. And you know the, let's say, great architecture, God version, which is loyalty, trust, sacrifice, commitment. And I'll add the fifth. The fifth is being able to see your reflection in the other person. The true ability to clearly see the other person and realize they're a flawed animal just like you. And that's all it is. There's no dog judging another dog. There's no parrot judging another parrot. There's no squirrel judging another squirrel anywhere in this planet right now. There's no gorilla who's like, I'm going to judge you for wearing the clothes you're wearing. That doesn't happen. All right. So we have characteristics of chemicals from love, and we have characteristics of actions of love. When those all come together, that creates the true bond of long-lasting relationships. If you can understand those things, you'll have amazing relationships for the rest of your life. And if you can talk this through with people who you're dating, if you can talk through with people in your family, you'll make sure that these chemicals you'll keep. So if you're like, oh, how come me and my girlfriend, or me and my wife, or me and my boyfriend aren't, make sure that you look at these chemicals. Do we have enough dopamine? Are we talking enough? Are we growing enough? Do we have enough oxytocin? Are we hugging each other enough? Am I kissing enough? Do we have enough serotonin? Are we having enough fun together? You need to know if these things are there. And then on the flip side, do we trust each other? Are we loyal to each other? Are we committed? Are we sacrificing for? If you have these things and it all comes together, you're going to have a very, very bountiful life. Everything around you will grow, but you have to be honest about it. You cannot give other people the version of love that they believe in because they are insecure or because they have some weird way of looking at the world. What I'm telling you is the purest version of love you will ever find on this planet. Stick to it. Do not change for other people, because other people who are very insecure are always going to want to pull you into their versions of their subjective versions. And I guarantee from now on, if you talk to anyone and you say, what is love? And they say, well, and they start the sentence, go, I feel like. If they say, well, I feel, the minute they say, I feel, they're already in subjective territory, because I feel is different from how you feel. And the version I just gave you is very easy to explain. Adrenaline, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, endorphins, trust, loyalty, commitment, sacrifice, and being able to see you as another human being on this planet who's going to be flawed. As long as you can do all those things, love will be abundant in your life. You'll never have to search for love. You will be love, and love will emanate from you. And therefore, like before, like me talking about the cars, what will you attract? You'll attract more love, which is how it will work, because you'll become the vibration of that frequency. All right, everyone. That being said, I hope you enjoyed today's live stream. Oh, someone said I'm actually reciting the lyrics. Am I really? Wow, that's crazy. See, I'm telling you, whoever's writing these songs is connected to the thing I was telling you about. So I hope you enjoyed today's live stream. This has been a really fun time to hang out with all of y'all. We'll do another one of these, probably another week or two. So we're going to ask you what track you want to see. We'll probably do 2 songs in the next session. So we'll ask you, we're going to come, Denise will probably reach out. We'll try to upvote. We'll try to get the songs that you want to see, break these things down. And hopefully some of the things that we've talked about that weren't just about the production of the song, but maybe a little bit more in depth, you get a chance to kind of sit with throughout the rest of the week and kind of think on. And hopefully it's able to give you a little bit more understanding about the world and maybe the people around you. Because if this channel can help people through music and help people through life, and you can live a better life in your world, wherever you are in the world, and pass this energy along, then we have the chance to actually help change the world. And as this hopefully grows, and we're here in the beginning, like all of you are here in the very beginning with me. So hopefully when this channel gets to be, 500,000 subscribers, 1 million subscribers, we have a very great core unit of people who have been practicing these things we're talking about, and hopefully making this place a better place to live. Because if you see what's happening out in the world, this place is getting a bit crazy. But if the people in here can all kind of live a better version of it, then we can hopefully make it better for the next people who are on this planet. And that is my goal here. All right, everyone. I hope you have a great day. Thanks a lot for coming today, and I will see everyone soon. Be well and be good to each other.